I'll do a little walk around video here of my 1994 XR650. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I've had it since, I believe, 2019. I traded it for a 2006 KX250 two-stroke dirt bike. I traded this. This came from a guy in Oklahoma, and it had a California title. But I met him in Wichita. I'm in Kansas City, and met him in Wichita, which was halfway for us. And my KX ran great. When I pulled it off the truck, it started first kick, and this was in the middle of winter. He couldn't get this bike to run, and I'd already driven 3 hours, so I wasn't gonna mess around and drive home. I was gonna trade for it and bring it home. I found out it had a bad CDI box, so I got that replaced and got it running, and then it didn't charge. So I took it apart. Well, I measured and checked the stator, and the stator was bad. And when I took the stator out, I found a washer. Apparently someone had had it apart in the past, and the washer had come out and gotten down into the stator and gotten all ground in and ruined it. So I put a stator out of, I forget, like a CB750 or something like that, something with a lot more wattage. I think this is 300 and some watts or something like that, generation or power. And the original one for the XR650 was just 150 or 180 or something. So I almost doubled the charging output of the stator when I replaced that. Let's see, he had it set up as a supermoto bike with some really stupid paint and fenders. So I bought new fenders. I bought the new Safari tank. That's an Acerbis or Cheerbis, whatever you call it, 6.2 gallon Safari tank. I'll get this camera flipped around and I'll be right back. Okay, so 6.2 gallon tank, that's new. Front fender's new. I've got a Continental, I think, TKC 80 front tire. I had a rear TKC 80, and it absolutely sucked in the mud. So I replaced that with whatever this is, IRC Walkaround. So this is a real turd slinger. Let's see here. I've done quite a bit to the bike. I've owned it again for 3 years. Rode it some, but I've had other bikes to ride as well. So last fall, I took a trip down to Rush Springs Ranch, and I rode the absolute piss out of this machine. And I ended up burning up the clutch. Fork seals had been leaking for a long time, so let's see, I did the clutch, I did a new clutch cable, replaced all of that stuff. I put new fork seals in and put the little fork socks on it, though it didn't have that before. Other than that, I've just changed the oil. It's got a 38 millimeter McCuney flat slide, as opposed to the original carburetor. You can see I've got the Yoshimura, this was on it, slip on. I put these XR6 or KR650 foot pegs on it. I got the nice, they really grip your boots well. Sometime in the past it was patched there. Obviously it took a slide and the shifter dug into the case there, but it doesn't leak. The other thing I did this past winter is new chain and sprockets. This is actually a, I forget, a 50 tooth sprocket versus the 42 sprocket on the rear, and then on the front I believe that's 1 tooth less than stock. So I ended up with a 3.5 gear ratio in that chain, which made this thing really rideable. I love it this way. So new CDI, it does have these little LED turn signals. They worked great after I got back from Rush Springs. They haven't worked, and I haven't messed with it. Here's another thing that was ended up burning up. I replaced the rectifier for the charging system. Right away, the one I replaced it with went bad, so I bought 2 more. I put this one on and I left it sticking out right there so it'd be easy for me to replace it if it burned up, because it's supposed to be mounted down here under the tank. Right there, you can see the old one. But it's ran great for the last 3 years. I haven't had to replace it, so it should probably be put under the tank like it belongs. These are just cheap Amazon Chinese bark busters. They're all wadded up from me wadding it up, but they really have done the job, and I haven't broke any brake levers, which I'm really happy about. Let's see here. The other thing I did when I was upgrading the stator and the rectifier and everything is I added this voltmeter, which where I tied in for power actually has about a voltage drop. This thing actually, when I'm testing it at the battery, has a volt or a little more than what it's actually showing there, so that would actually be more like 11.9. I'll go ahead and fire it up. Smoke, so I assume it's probably got valve seals that are pretty old. This is a 1994, you know, but really runs solid for what it is. The other thing too, the speedometer gear down here when I got it was broken, so I have no idea on the mileage. The odometer reads 10,972, and that means that I've probably put 500 miles on this in the last or less actually, because it was at 10,095 or something like that is what it had on it when I got it, even though you can't consider that correct. So yeah, I'll just start it up and let it run so you can hear it. It really is a pretty quiet old motor. The headlight does work.